Malawi, simuna mvepo zomweza sinta ku Limpopo FM pa October 16. Guys, the whole country was buzzing like a beehive after Comrade Ntanyiwa opened that mic. People were saying, koma speechi menendia moto. Welcome back to Global Pulse News, the only channel that breaks down stories like Siba on a hot plate. Smooth, satisfying, and a little spicy. Today we dive deep into the talk of the town broadcast. Comrade Ntanyiwa pa Limpopo FM, Nkhanga Zaona edition. What did he say? Why are people shouting, Nkhanga Zaona? And why are some leaders suddenly acting allergic to microphones? Stay tuned because we're unpacking 7 major facts behind this fiery broadcast, from his shocking statements to the aftershocks shaking Malawi's political ground. Let's go straight into fact number 1. And trust me, you'll want to hold your breath for this one. So, pa October 16, Comrade Ntanyiwa went live on Limpopo FM's program Nkhanga Zaona, and boom, he set the airwaves on fire. Ndima oloke, he started calmly, then dropped bomb after bomb like a lyrical general at war. He accused powerful figures of hiding behind democracy while stealing people's confidence. Listeners heard him say, Tilindia tsokoleli ome amafuna kujetsa matumbo wao, osati mtima wadziko. Translation, we have leaders feeding their stomachs, not the nation's heart. That line alone made WhatsApp go crazy. Ntanyiwa didn't stop there. He warned that if accountability doesn't come, people will rise. Maloya sazapita nsopa TV ukameta nkani. Koma kuzayanka mabwaro antu. This wasn't just talk. It was challenge, frustration, and passion wrapped in one. Social media exploded. Twitter, trending. Facebook, hot debates. Even taxi drivers were arguing about it. Transition? But who is this comrade who can turn a radio mic into a battlefield of truth? Fact number 2 explains that perfectly. Before you judge his words, you have to know the man. Comrade Ntanyiwa isn't just a random guest who stumbled onto Limpopo FM. Aye. He's known for being Malawi's straight-talking social critic, part activist, part political philosopher, and full-time troublemaker for corrupt systems. For years, he's been speaking truth to power. On Limpopo FM, he's hosted and guested on Nkhanga Zaona, dissecting issues like government contracts, police misconduct, and the struggles of common Malawians, especially youth and vendors. Amachedwa comrade, not because of party lines, but because he fights for causes. His vibe? Mix Bob Marley's fire with Dr. Hastings Banda's discipline and sprinkle it with street wisdom from Blantyre markets. He once said, if the people stop talking, the system starts sleeping. That's pure fuel for the youth who feel ignored. So when he spoke on October 16, people didn't hear a guest, they heard a messenger. But every messenger faces reaction, cheers, boos, and confusion. Let's check fact 3 to see how Malawians received his thunderous words. The moment the show ended, Malawi went into overdrive. Pa WhatsApp, Facebook, TikTok, every clip of Ntanyiwa's speech was flying like kites in a storm. Some people said, huyo Nkhanga Zaona. Finally, someone brave. Others snapped back, koma huyo akufuna zipupu zayambike. It was like watching a football final between truth and politics. Radio call-ins were hot. One caller from Mzuzu said, Ntanyiwa ndi mwana wa dziko, koma ainera kuyanguanirwa, mao wake ali nati moto. Another from Blantyre countered, let him talk, tikifunika antungenevea kuti boma lizizindikira. Ambiri anangomvetsa mutu, osamvetsa tanzuro. That's how Nkhanga Zaona turned into Ambiri sakumvetsa Zaona. The energy online, wild. Some bloggers edited memes calling him radio revolutionist. Now, when the public speaks this loudly, you know media houses won't stay silent. Fact 4, let's talk about how journalists turn this story into their daily meal.
Limpopo FM had just closed transmission. Koma ma newsrooms analikale pamoto. Within hours, local outlets had catchy headlines like, Comrade Ntanyiwa blasts the system. Nkhanga Zaona sparks national debate, and Ntanyiwa's mic causes shockwaves. TTV replayed excerpts. NBC analyzed it cautiously, while online pages posted unverified quotes for clicks. Some twisted his words, turning constructive anger into scandal. It became a framing war. One camp painted him as a hero of the people. Another branded him a reckless agitator. Media thrives on conflict, and Comrade Ntanyiwa gave them pure content gold. On talk shows, analysts dissected each metaphor. Kodi Nyantiwa amafuna chani zeni zeni, hosts kept asking. Even international channels sniffed curiosity. The idea of a Malawian radio show shaking politics was irresistible. But this buzz comes with danger. When narratives spin too fast, truth gets dizzy. Transition. While the media was feasting, politicians were sweating. Let's turn to fact 5, because the reaction inside power corridors tells another story entirely. Paboma antu wanangangangana. Kwadi huyu akunena ife. You could almost hear chairs creak in government offices. Some ruling party figures brushed it off as radio noise, while others quietly admitted, Uyu walankula zona koma mwamfambu kwa mbiri. Opposition circles, meanwhile, were rubbing their hands. Tinangala kale hizi, koma antu sana mweva. Tsopono Comrade Ntanyiwa wategula masoao. In corridors of power, such public statements are like earthquakes. Even when small, they shake hidden foundations. Analysts predict Comrade Ntanyiwa's words may push more youth activists to speak up. But not everyone's clapping. Rumors say some officials considered investigating his motives. Malawi politics. You speak too softly, they ignore you. Speak too loudly, they think you're planning a coup. Transition. Yet, politics aside, what's this doing to the people? The ordinary Malawians who heard his message on their transistor radios while cooking in Sima. That's our next stop. Fact 6. This radio outburst wasn't just talk, it became inspiration. Kundirande, Kumzimba, Kunsanje, people started quoting him. Community leaders repeated his phrases in meetings. Tieni tisamanganya mangwala, tieni tidia chirungamu. Even youth groups felt revived. One Blantyre activist said, Nyatiwa anategula moto notisitinga zimitse. We must demand transparency. Even church leaders quietly referenced his courage, calling for honesty in leadership. But of course, not everyone joined. Some fear such talk brings tension. Tisamanganyanga chifukwa cha maua pa radio. Still, this shows the ripple. A single radio program became a national reflection. When ordinary citizens feel represented, hope rises. When elites feel exposed, pressure rises. Either way, the temperature of the nation just went up. Boom. Transition. But where does all this lead? Is this the start of change or just another headline? Fact 7 is our final lap, and it's all about what's next. Now, the million kwacha question. What happens after this? Scenario 1. Comrade Ntanyiwa becomes a bigger voice. More radio, more followers, maybe even a political ticket. Scenario 2. Authorities clamp down, calling him a threat to stability. Scenario 3. Dialogue opens, leaders invite him to roundtables to calm the heat. Whichever way it goes, this moment has already made history. October 16 will be remembered as the day a radio mic roared louder than Parliament. The lesson: you don't need big budgets to make an impact, just big courage. Ntanyiwa proved that in a few minutes of airtime. Kodi inumu kaganizabani. Should activists use the radio more often to hold leaders accountable? Or is that playing with fire? Drop your thoughts. This discussion is ours now. Transition. All right, we've dissected the facts, felt the heat, and laughed a little. Now let's close it with style. And that, my people, is the full story of Comrade Ntanyiwa pa Limpopo FM, Nkhanga Zaona, 16 October 25. From that mic moment to national reactions, media storms, political ripples, and civic vibes, we've seen how one man's words can shake a system. This is not just about radio. It's about courage, power, and people's voices. If you learn something new, tap that like button. It helps the channel grow. If you want fearless news in both English and Chichewa, subscribe to @GlobalPulseNews and ring that bell so you never miss our next big drop. Tell us in the comments, do you support voices like Comrade Ntanyiwa, or do you think Malawi needs calmer conversations? And remember, you can join our updates on WhatsApp here. https://whatsapp.com/channel/0029 VBBUI921 55 This is Global Pulse News, where truth meets attitude and the mic never lies. Boom.